What's going on, guys? It's the last Tuesday of the month, so I decided to go live once again to kind of give my thoughts and show you guys what I bought in the month of May. So thank you guys for joining me and rolling in here. So expect this probably about every Tuesday at the end of the month around 7:30 p.m., depending on work schedule and what I do during the day, basically. So once again, big thanks to everyone for always popping in and all that good stuff. And we already got a chat, so that's pretty awesome, guys. We got, oh man, he's clanging and banging, going down Santa Monica, I'm sure. We got Biggie Shack in the chat. What's going on, Biggie Shack? Had the chance to finally get a chance to talk to him in a hangout not too long ago. I think it was last week, actually. So that was a lot of fun. He's one of the coolest guys in the whole community. So love me some Biggie Shack. Puts a smile on my face every time I watch one of his live streams. So check him out. And here's another great guy in the community. We got Just a Rican and his comics. He's always looking out for the little guys in the community as well. Always shouting out those channels that sometimes don't get the recognition. So, and plus he has some great content as well. So big shout out to Just a Rican and his comics, of course. And we got one of the best Instagrammers there is, Stay Puff 1983. Always like seeing his IG posts and all that good stuff, and his old school hip hop videos too. Those are always awesome, man. So thanks for posting those. And we got one of the best Archie and Action Comics collection in the entire community. We got Mr. Gretzky 9966. How's it going, man? And as people kind of start to roll in here, you ever watch one of these, you kind of know the format for the most part. Usually I kind of start to go over stuff I read and just tell you what I thought about it. So I'm going to try to go through these quickly since I'm used to doing this as a weekly format instead of a monthly, but I may get too long-winded. You guys know me at this point. So the first one on top of this stack was die number 5. I don't think I talked about this one on this channel yet, but this die gets better every single issue in my opinion, especially the Stephanie Hans art. I was a little bit critical of her and her art in the first issue, but I think there was a reason for that. So I just think when they're in this fantasy world, everything's just a little bit more bright and colorful and that stuff. In the real world, it's just a bit more gritty. So she kind of continues to draw it that way in the flashback scenes of issue 5. So in this one, the gang gets together. They try to figure out, like, how can we most efficiently get out of this crazy die universe? So they concocted a plan last issue. They're going to basically, to quote Chris Jericho, they're going to break the walls down of this like fantasy city that they're kind of stuck in. That way they can't go through and, get all this, they're not going to get stuck in these fetch quests, basically. If you guys ever play RPGs and stuff, you know all about that. So they're just decide they're going to try to break the game so they can escape as quick as possible. So to do that, they destroy the city. And then, the guy that they're there, the rescue to begin with, he finally shows up. He's like, what'd you do? I built this all for us and all that stuff. So one of them finally decides that, he's just unsavable. They need to get themselves out of there. So, of course, they make their move on him. And for the most part, it doesn't really work out. So the last panel is just him kind of saying, they're basically not going to escape that easy. So pretty cool. Like this issue 5's anymore, just the end cutoff for the first trade going into the second. I don't know if they're going to take a break after 5, like a lot of Image Comics do, to kind of get that trade out, get the artist refreshed so they can start their second arc. But 1 through 5 of Die lives up to the hype for me so far. Something that a lot of people have been critical of when it came out this month. Once again, I can't remember if I talked about this. I probably talked about it in Comic Core, but I don't know if I talked about it on my channel. But Deceased number 1 was one of the, I guess, bigger event books by DC, even though I didn't really look at this as an event, just because I look at this more as like an Elseworld book than anything, because obviously it's not in DC continuity. But basically this is their version of Marvel Zombies. Don't know why in 2019 they decided to do this instead of 2012 or 2013 when the zombie stuff was at its height because of the Walking Dead success of the show. But nonetheless, they finally got this story out. I enjoyed the story for the most part. Usually, I think it was Tom Taylor who wrote it. So it was solid. Don't know if I really liked that people were being infected as a zombie. using digital devices. But I guess when you throw the anti-life equation in the whole thing, it's anything's possible in the DC universe. So that's what they went with. Batman of all people is the one who kind of went down first of your big heroes. Obviously, you know, Nightwing and Tim Drake, they didn't last long because they were the ones attacking Batman on the last panel of this. But you know, I was kind of surprised that Batman didn't last longer. But hey, I think that makes for a more compelling read going forward. The bad news about this book is the art is just atrocious. I'm sorry, but issue 1, they're already using 2 artists. I don't know if that was to get the effect or make a different look for Apocalypse and all that stuff, because we're in the Apocalypse, that's when they use the second artist, and he is just terrible. But the other one, he's serviceable, but not the best. I think actually it was Tyler Harrison, who's usually decent, but I just not a fan of the art in this. But nonetheless, I may pick up issue 2 before I make my final judgment on this is going to be a worthwhile read or not. But it was intriguing enough to capture my interest throughout. Next up on my stack, we got Green Lantern issue 7. I've been saying, if you guys have been keeping track of the Comic Core, you know, my picks of the week and that stuff, I believe this is one of my picks of the week for May. Basically, Grant Morrison, he always has that book where, you know, he'll have his full run or what have you, like 20, 30 issues worth of comic. And then sometimes he'll throw that wrench in and he'll have that super weird issue, you know, like the Wile E. Coyote issue of Animal Man, the Nuff Said issue of New X-Men, so on and so forth. This one is that weird issue. Hal had to take cover in his ring after protecting himself from basically like a super duper nuclear blaster, some space blast that would have wiped out a planet. So he used the ring to save a bunch of people. The bomb goes off, but now he is kind of trapped at the will inside his ring. So we find out there is a whole colony and universe type something that is going on inside his ring. So I believe it has a lot to do with, you know, kind of Parallax infecting the Green Lantern previously after, you know, Emerald Twilight and that stuff. So there's kind of like this tiny little speck of evil inside each and every Green Lantern ring. At least that's the way I interpreted it in this Emerald Sand story. So Hal has to kind of, he meets up with the subconscious, basically, of his ring, and they together work out a plan to kind of overcome that, you know, because that's what Green Lantern's all about, is, you know, overcoming things like, you know, great fear. That's what he does, using, you know, the green willpower. So basically, it's almost like he almost kind of falls in love with his ring all over again, because now it's a hot chick entity that Hal Jordan can get behind. So enjoyed that one. This has been a fun run so far. Well, kind of like Die, it has gotten better each and every issue. And now this is the part where I get to pick up my comics off the floor because I put them in my lap and they went everywhere. So we're live. All right. So before I keep going into this stack, I want to get into the chat because you guys keep popping in. Let me take my drink of water for this guy. You know what's coming? We got Bake the Snake. What's going on, Bake? He says, what's going down? Always like seeing Bake the Snake in the chats. We still got Biggie Shack. He's saying hi to Puff. We got, hey, what's going on, Don? We got Mastodon Comics and Collecting in the chat once again. Thanks for joining me once again. Also, live long and prosper, man. We got Steven Spock in the chat. Always like seeing him around as well. And one of my best viewers out there, we got Liking the Covers 4963. I think he's watched every one of these live streams, like even if they're on replay. So a big shout out to Liking the Covers. He's got his own channel too, so check him out. And then the Great Legend, which I have a proposal for the Great Legend later, just so we can put it out in public. Legend, we got to get the Gulak Corbin business out of the way. So stay tuned for that. So let's see where we left off. Oh, if you guys wanted to see a B cover for Deceased, there's that. This may be after a while. He says we'll do Red Light over. So this may be the sole reason in continuing to get Deceased. There's going to be some cool variant covers. So we get the Stephen King's It Pennywise swipe. So at least they're trying to like replicate the insanity that was collecting the Marvel zombie stuff with all those different cool covers and multiple printings. So that was cool too. Here's another one I talked about on, well, once again, someone else's channel. If you guys keep track of YouTube is 90 miles from comics. Chad, he has started a new series on his channel. It's also called Turtle Talk Thursdays. Now I believe it's called Reviews in a Half Shell. But every time basically a Turtle comic comes out, we're going to try to talk about it if I can actually get a chance to make a show. Maybe 2 so far, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make this week because of work, unfortunately. But he's basically the guy who sold me and let me know that these Turtle books right now, every one of them is firing on all cylinders. So this one is Batman TMNT Volume 3. Once again, this is drawn by Freddie Williams too, and James Tynion is the writer on this. And if you guys like the Amalgam comics from the 90s, that's when they did the DC versus Marvel, and you had things like Spider-Boy and, you know, the Dark Knight Wolverine mashup, you will absolutely love this one. Basically, it's just the universes of Batman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have been mixed up and amalgamized. So Batman now has the 4 turtles in this book as his Robins. So if I remember right, I think Leo's Nightwing, of course. Mikey was Damian, Raph was Red Hood, and Donnie was Tim Drake, because, hey, they both use that staff, so I guess why not? And they're both like the smartest ones, so once again, why not? And then you get to see a mashup between the Shredder and the Joker, and then there's a surprise at the end with Krang being mixed up with a certain somebody. So absolutely fun read. I'm definitely on board to see where this goes, but a very fun first issue. And then, like I said, Chad, he's a good salesman. He sold me on getting a bunch of these Turtle books. Obviously, I didn't pay for the free comic book day one, but every one of them except for issue 92, I got for half off on free comic book day. So a lot of cool stuff going on these books. Specifically, they just started with issue number 93, the City at War storyline. So what's been going on in the Turtle books is Shredder got killed off way back when. That's where Shredder in Hell comes in, which is probably also in the stack somewhere. But basically, Splinter has been running the Foot Clan for a while, and more or less the Shredder's daughter wants it back. So she feels like she should inherit the Foot Clan. And Splinter, in one of the previous issues, I believe it was this one, or 91 or 92, because I read them all in a row, I'll be honest. Where basically Splinter, you know, after hearing some of the feedback from, you know, Leonardo and Donatello, he's kind of ready to give up the Foot Clan business because, you know, he's getting his hands dirty a little bit more than he wants to. And as everybody knows who's watched Turtles or collected comics over the last, 25, 35 years, Foot Clan usually is never good. Like, they're 99% evil. So Splinter, he's trying to at least point them in the right direction and hand off the reins to Shredder's, you know, relatives, basically. So they actually have a meetup, and in this meetup, they're really close to, you know, making this deal. And finally, someone's like, hey, what about those kids who, you know, we take in off the streets and that stuff and, you know, make them the Foot Clan members? You know, it's kind of like in the 1990 movie, you know, with my boy Michelangelo. Look how awesome he is. So in this movie here, you know, like that kid Danny, who works for April's boss's son, he gets caught up in that Foot Clan ring. It's pretty much like those type of kids. Like, what do you do with them? And Shredder's like, you know, we'll take them in, we'll help them out. But obviously, you know, once it's ready for them to move on, they can move on to whatever if they feel that they want to serve the Foot. Hey, that's fine. We can't stop them. But, you know, obviously, if they want to make, you know, more of themselves, we need to, you know, allow them to do that as well. And that's where they have the disagreement. So Splinter refuses to make the deal after that because he doesn't want to, like, screw over all of these kids who have been taken in by the Foot Clan. Because if he leaves, they're bound to the Foot Clan. They have to be members of the Foot now. So he decides, he's like, nope, the handoff's not happening. I'm staying to help out these kids. And of course, all the Turtle brothers, they understand, you know, that. So that's where City at War comes in, because now the Shredder's daughter, she's ready to take it by force. She's going to, like, take out Splinter, basically, and all of their allies, because they're 93 issues in. I'm actually slowly creeping up on catching up because I'm on the first hardcover, so I'm going to get all the hardcovers and eventually meet up with this point. But the Turtles, they've met a lot of allies and have formed a lot of cool unions in New York. So it starts off the issue. It almost looks like a Grand Theft Auto San Andreas map, where it shows you, like, the Bad Foot Clan's territory, and then the Turtles and the Good Foot Clan's kind of footprint on the city. So it really, really cool storyline. If you guys like Turtles at all, definitely check these recent reads out, because I think the newest storyline started with 93. 94 comes out tomorrow. And then also, if you guys went to Free Comic Book Day, this may have been the best read of them all, is the TMNT Free Comic Book Day comic, which, like I said, 35 years. Wow, am I feeling old? But this actually takes place between issues 93 and 94. So one of the Turtles' allies gets severely injured in 93 at the end of that. And this is basically the Turtles trying to get their ally to the hospital to save her. So obviously, like I said, when the city's kind of split in half between bad and good Foot Clan members, they're being attacked in a turtle van. They're having to break up the party so they can kind of play distraction for, more or less the turtle ambulance it is now. So very cool action-packed read. It's absolutely amazing. Definitely a pinnacle of what I've read for these new turtle books, in my opinion. I already talked about this. I'll just go over it briefly again, just in case I haven't. Year of the Villain, the 25 center that usually DC likes to do this type of stuff instead of the Free Comic Book Day stuff now, which it is what it is. My store, they just wait and give this away for free anyway on Free Comic Book Day, because I think it costs them the same as, like, actually, because I think they pay like what, $1.50 per book for Free Comic Book Day. So I think they do the same thing for this. But basically, you get this whole like Leviathan storyline, and the most interesting thing for me in this is Lex Luthor kind of like dispersing his billions of dollars to the other villains so they can use those resources to fight their respective heroes. So I thought that was pretty neat. And he basically probably fakes his own death on top of it. It looks like he dies, but we know he's not going to stay dead. Who are we kidding? So that was a fun one. We got Young Justice #5. I know everyone's like, Bendis' DC run sucks. Hopefully he gets fired, blah, blah, blah. Everything sucks but Naomi, which, hey, I haven't read that, so I'm not sure. But I truly am enjoying his Young Justice run. It's a little bit rushed, obviously, and I still don't know, like, how every one of these characters is here. I'm guessing they're slowly getting these explanations, but at least, like, in these last couple of issues, we've learned that, Connor Kent, my boy, Superboy, he has a wife and kid now in Gem World. We get to see Tim Drake slowly realize and remember who Connor Kent is, similar to what happened in DC Rebirth with Barry Allen remembering our older Wally West, not the new Wallace West. So cool stuff like that's going down here. We kind of get a little bit more background on Gem World in this issue, and you get to see some Jenny Hex in her pickup truck. So it keeps being a consistent and fun read, but I hope at least by issue 10, they get to some explanations, because I need a little bit more from them at this point. Last books on this stack until I get next to my next read stack. I got Buffy #4 and Angel #0, and somewhere down, actually, hey, it's on top. Cool, I can highlight that too, because this is kind of like the bridge gap too. Got Buffy / Angel, Free Comic Book Day #1. So all three of these kind of tie in together. So if you guys like Buffy at all and you're looking for hopping on point, now's the time on Boom. Boom is actually doing some good work with the Buffy license. They basically just decided to go the Ultimate Comics, Ultimate Spider-Man route, like I've been saying. They just kind of gave Buffy a fresh continuity. It's a younger version of all the characters that are in like current times. So obviously they have cell phones and digital devices and such that they didn't have in the late 90s. But the main reason I wanted to keep talking about and highlighting these is, I guess, spoilers if you're wanting to avoid them. But as you can tell by this cover here, things are not looking good for Xander Harris. So they may actually bite the bullet and take out one of the Scoobies this early on. This is only issue 4. But they also did introduce Robin Wood, who is the principal in season 7, and he's much younger in this issue. So he's like, the Scooby gang's age. So I wonder if they're going to use Robin Wood, who is a character in season 7, and just kind of have him replace Xander as like the male character on the cast, more or less, besides Giles, because he basically gets attacked by all the... I don't know why Angel's in the background there, because Angel was not one of the attackers. At least I don't think he would. I don't remember him being one of the attackers, but I think they just drew him in there, say like, hey, Angel's at the end of this. So this kind of connects to these two, because you kind of get to see a background story of Angel, like days before he decides that he needs to go to Sunnydale. He's with a previous Slayer who, you know how that works. If Buffy's a Slayer here, and this is a previous issue, that Slayer's getting killed. So you kind of get to see like Angel and his relationship with Slayers, I guess, and how they don't really end well before him and Buffy finally are inevitably going to meet. And then, yeah, this is kind of like that in between. You actually get to see like some stuff from the Magic Box and Anya. So very good stuff here. I really enjoy it. So before we get to our next stack of reads, I want to get back into the chat. See who we got going on here. Oh, we got my first subscriber in the show. We got Fish Tropic. He's been putting out some videos lately. Some pretty awesome stuff. If you guys like fishing and, you know, just feeding your fish and that stuff, definitely check out Fish Tropic. He'll give you some good advice on fish tanks and such too, of course. We got Aggressively Relaxing, one of my favorite names. He says, people need to get off Bendis's nuts, dude, is solid. So, yeah, I do kind of agree with that. Like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of what I read from the Superman stuff. So I just dropped the title. That's what I did. You know, I wasn't hooked, so I didn't buy it. But I've enjoyed Young Justice. I eventually might read that Naomi after hearing all the hype once it's in a trade or on the DC streaming app, hopefully at one point. Maybe next year I'll give it a good read. I think he also said, he just scrolled up, so I got to go back up real quick. He says, I understand. Joining the Foot in the movie, they had a skate park arcade for a base. Oh, yeah, they absolutely did. They had the arcade cabinet for Narc there. That's why I remember it so vividly, because I loved that game as a kid. And it was just funny because it was like an anti-drug game, and they're just sitting there with cigarettes in their mouth playing Narc. So, yeah, awesome one. We got the boy who had 7 Talks comic books in the chat. So what's going on? I definitely enjoy him and Thanatos' show where they talk about Green Lantern. Hopefully soon we'll be getting to that Sinestro Core War so we can, you know, get through this hype train that's going to come with that. So one of my favorite reads of all time. So stay tuned to their channels to see when that comes out. I think they might have one more trade than that, but they've been doing some awesome stuff. I was talking about Turtles earlier. Here's one of the bigger Turtle fans in the community. We got Brandon Stawinski Comics. What's going on, man? He's also one of the best auctioneers. He's always got great books at good deals. So definitely, if you see him on auction, don't hesitate to bid. And speaking of turtle collectors, this guy outbid me on some turtle books yesterday. We got Who Dat Comics and Movies. What's going on, Who Dat? Definitely, he was on that 90 MF Comics Turtle show the other day too. So it was a lot of fun being on a show with him. We got Tacoma Comics, who says, "Wow, this is crazy. Are you kidding me?" So I don't know what that means. So there's Tacoma Comics. Always like seeing Tacoma Comics. I believe, actually, Tacoma Comics is having his own auction as well. I think Sunday evening. So if you guys like auctions, sub up Tacoma Comics because he has like a 6-person panel I saw on Instagram. So sub him up. You like auctions. And while I'm thinking about it, and I see his name with that nice bright blue for that wrench, we got Great Legend Show in the chat still. His final auction will be happening this Saturday night, June 1st, around, I'm assuming 10 p.m. like the rest of his auctions. That's Eastern time. So definitely that's like a must-watch auction, I'm sure, for all of us. So the inspiration for all the auctions, at least, you know, for me, is retiring. So I'll definitely make an appearance in the chat and maybe bid on a couple books. We'll see. I'm sure he'll have some phenomenal sellers lined up like normal. And then, yeah, they're trying super chats. Yeah, close enough, Tacoma. Thanks for the thought. I appreciate it. All right, so like I said, since we're doing these things once a month, I got more reads to talk about, and then I'll show you some Hull stuff. And then I'll probably tell you about Brightburn. I went and saw Brightburn today, so more on that in a little while. But actually, just to confirm those times I was talking about on those auctions, Tacoma says Sunday, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. West Coast time. Wow, it's going to be a late auction. So 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the West Coast is Tacoma Comics auction this Sunday. So there's going to be some great deals, I'm sure. Which, by the way, Tacoma, I did send out your box. I don't know if that person has, I'm assuming that person's received it, but it's one of those guys, Discovery Bay, who yeah, he has a lot of packages, so it may be until 2020 when we see your package again. So that's where Tacoma's package went. And then Legends auction confirms 10 p.m. Eastern this Saturday night. All right, so the next read I finally found a copy of this in my local shop. Drawing Blood #1. Saw Kevin Eastman's name on this, and then I heard Cat Ren Figures kind of talk a little bit about it. They have another book. It's kind of like he swiped the turtles himself, basically. I can't read some crazy name. Someone can type it in the chat, but it eludes me because I could not find a copy of that, so I didn't read it, so I can't remember the names or know what it's about. But anyway, we got Drawing Blood, who's kind of the creator of that book, technically, as well, as crazy as that sounds. But this is kind of about a washed-up comic book creator who he's kind of fallen in with a bad crowd. You kind of see a scene actually drawn by Kevin Eastman in this book where, as a younger comic collector and aspiring artist, he meets one of his heroes in the industry, and actually kind of draw him a little bit to look like Jim Steranko, in my opinion. And they kind of form this bond and make a business together, you know, post-'80s. And then going through the 90s, this guy creates probably something similar to Turtles. They don't say that specifically. And, you know, they have a great go of it. And then eventually everything just kind of falls on its back. Money's embezzled by this other creator. Then we kind of get to know the other creator has passed away. And we're kind of stuck with this guy. And as you can tell, you know, not even being able to own a pair of pants, he is not in good financial shape. And I just now noticed, holding it up like that to the camera, that's almost like a cover swipe to the Days of Future Past. I didn't really notice that background until now, so that's pretty awesome. I just now noticed that, so that's really cool. But anyway, he kind of gets these like mob guys that come after him on the last few pages, and more or less the guy he was partnered with owed them like millions of dollars. So that guy had no relatives, so to get their millions back, they have to go after this guy. And that's kind of where our story leaves us. I've never heard of KES Comics before. That's why I was shocked that this was in my store, because they usually only get DC, Marvel, and Image. But it's a very, very nice print quality on this. It has like a very shiny front and back. I don't really know how else to describe that. So I definitely wanted to put this in a bag as quick as possible for like my fingerprints got all over it. Here's a book I kind of just lost thought and don't understand at this point. Batman Who Laughs. Issue 5. I think at this point I'm just going to keep getting these, and I'm just going to read them all at once, because I'll admit I'm a little bit lost. I guess that maybe is a little bit to the point, because the Batman Who Laughs he's just a nutcase. So basically, in this, Bruce Wayne kind of makes himself become a nutcase too to fight the Batman Who Laughs. Meanwhile, the Batman Who Laughs keeps bringing in Dark Universe Bruce Waynes on top of it. So you have all these other Bruce Waynes, like there's a Court of Owls Bruce Wayne in this, and I'm officially lost, so congratulations, Scott Snyder. You finally done it. I have no idea what's going on in this book, but the junk art is still beautiful, so I'm going to keep getting it. When I get now it's 7 instead of 6. Thanks, DC. We got to stretch out these $5 price tags, so it's going to cost $5 more to finish this story. But nonetheless, I'm going to keep getting them. I'm going to read them all at once, and I'll finally get my final thoughts in on the Batman Who Laughs, because right now I'm confused. I'm lost. I have no idea what's going on. Next up, we got Shazam #5. Continues to be a very fun read. Jeff Johns still killing it. He always has had that soft spot for Shazam. As you saw in his Justice League run, back up some of my favorite Shazam stories ever, / Captain Marvel. So still so happy to see this title in the stands each and every time I get it. This one, we're kind of going through that crazy magical realm still. You kind of find out that this magical realm is like a way to get kids to buy into magic and keep them in this realm. So when they turn 18, they are bound to serve in this realm till they're dead, basically. So luckily in this one, Shazam saves Mary Marvel. Her mouth was like shut by a magical enchantment. But then like at least Shazam's there to save her. So we get to see Mary Marvel as, I guess, Mary Marvel, whatever they want to call her without the Marvel name now. But then we get like the Ready Player One stage with the other 2 characters, which is pretty cool. And then, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff. I like that they're working Black Adam in it as well. And the story ends on this one. We're gonna have a showdown between Black Adam and Dr. Savannah, because Mr. Mind is controlling Dr. Savannah. So at least with the villains, this is getting really good. So I think as the further that goes on, the more interesting it's going to be. Next up, got Ice Cream Man issue 12. Wow, I can't believe they're already up to issue 12 on this. So this is like a deranged vision of Noah's Ark, basically. So it's an astronaut named Noah, and he's got this ship called the ARC, or the Ark. Basically, it takes place, I'm guessing, in the distant future. And he's just trying to find another Earth to repopulate, because Earth, as we know it, has been wiped out by all the means you could guess. So there's also a HAL 9000 type character in this, basically. So they're kind of going back to the anthology style storytelling. Well, kind of, sort of, even though there was a little bit of storyline in the last panel. But yeah, as you would guess, the Ice Cream Man is kind of haunting this guy. He ends up crashing on a moon that has, you know, basically the embodiment of the Ice Cream Man on there, and he gets himself a ship by the end of it, but his crazy brother, he's on his tail too, trying to stop him. So cool issue, nice change of pace for Ice Cream Man. Usually it's just, you know, average tales, but then they put this one in space in the future. I don't know how. Apparently Ice Cream Man maybe can time travel now. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's super interesting how they decide just to say screw it. We're doing future, we're doing space, 2001 Space Odyssey style. I'll combine these two into one thing. I don't know where my issue one's at. I'm literally surrounded by stacks of books. But I've got this Spider-Man Life story. I got these on a recommendation from Drew Manchu. And then Comic Core Chad kind of seconded that, saying these were good. I agree. This is some of the best Spider-Man I've read in a very long time. You get Chip Zdarsky on writing duties, and one of my all-time favorite Spidey artists, Mark Bagley, is drawing these. And you kind of get to see, like, what if Spider-Man's life and continuity was just, you know, one nice straight line along with the rest of the Marvel Universe. But these events, you know, that happened still happened to him, basically. So that's why on the 80s, when you kind of see this Kraven's Last Hunt black costume motif, because those are some of the best stories from the 80s. And of course, you get to see, you know, the Goblins in the 70s and that stuff. And there's a lot of Gwen Stacy in here. But these issues are so good. I'm always a sucker for continuity, and it's just kind of lacking in comics anymore. I think that's why when I started collecting in the early 90s, it was the right time, because Crisis just happened, and everything was pretty easy to follow after that. As long as you could derive what happened in Crisis, you're good to go after that. But anyway, like, and by this one, he's like, Spidey's in his 40s. He's married to Mary Jane at this point. He's got some kids, and he's still out doing Spider-Man things, and having the black costume and having a family at the same time is not a good recipe. So he kind of basically ends up alone by the end of it. And, he tries to go out and do some crazy things, but then Kraven's Last Hunt happens, and things get even crazier from there. So, like I said, I can't wait to see where this is going. I'm assuming the 90s. They've already touched on the clones a little bit and that stuff in both of these, but I'm assuming they're going to get real crazy with the cloning in the 90s one, because that's when I think 90s Spider-Man, it's got to be the clones. So, puke, I guess. We'll see I'm sure it'll be better than it was in the 90s. We'll see what happens. Going back to Turtles, we got a Turtles triple shot here. So I didn't get a chance to buy this one previously, so I finally picked it up. It's kind of like Shredder's like Christmas story, basically, where he gets haunted by a ghost of the past, present, and future. So this also kind of helps lead up to that City in the War story arc I was talking about previously, because there's one vision he has with the 4 turtles. They've taken down an enemy. They look beat up. They look older, and they find out that villain is a Foot-Claned out Splinter. So cool, crazy vision. It was probably the highlight of this issue. And yeah, I thought it was going to be a filler issue at first, but I actually really enjoyed that. And then Shredder in Hell's issue 2 and 3. Talked about this on Chad 90's channel. But just a crazy, crazy storyline here. You actually get to see Shredder in Hell. Not much else to say. It's a very well drawn, nice action. I'm trying to think of anything else I hadn't said on Chad's channel already. If you guys want to see that, definitely check out 90 Miles from Comics, where we do like almost a 1-hour review with 4 of us on these. But the art's very good. It's written by the same guy who does the art. And definitely, I'm guessing Shredder's coming back for Turtles 100. Just my guess. So we'll see what happens with that. And then my final recommendation for the month of May, read-wise, is Farmhand number 8. So Farmhand, Rob Guillory continues to kill it in Farmhand. This is the second arc, so I'm guessing issues 6 through 10. They're going to be like Arc 2 is going to take another break, probably until the holidays is my guess. But in this one, you kind of get to see this deranged guy. We find out that, you know, the farmer, God, I'm trying to think of the name right now. I've read so many books today. But with the Jedediah, that's it. So Jed puts the these flowers in this guy's head so he can see. He's basically blinded, but as we know, Jedediah uses organic plants and stuff to kind of give people their lives back, whether it be a kidney like in issue 7 or in this one, issue 8, eyes. So it's great at first. He can see in that stuff. It's almost like he's Daredevil too. You can see like an echoes and pollen or something like crazy like that. But, you know, unfortunately, as you can see by this cover, it starts to deteriorate his appearance as well. So it's like the plants are growing in him. So it's just a side effect of giving him these eyes. And, you know, he goes after Jed, attacks, and then I can't remember their names right this second. His son comes in, saves the day, basically, saves his dad. So they got to go to the mayor, let him know what's going on. And we find out the mayor has also been saved by Jed because she's kind of like this plant monster, too. It kind of after, you know, all the characters leave the office, she kind of just like plants away, basically. So you're kind of figuring out that this whole city in Farmhand is infected by old Jed's plants, basically, whether it be like, you know, just the problems with their factory or the people themselves in that. So I'm really curious. I'm guessing issue 10 is going to have some crazy ending going into the Arc 3. All right, so that's the reads for the month. So before I go into my actual like crazy hauls I had from Half Price Books and online auctions and stuff, let's get back into that chat, see what we got going on. Tacoma says, we'll be like the Hangover auction after the Legends auction. Yeah, it's probably going to be like 10 hours of auctioning this weekend just between Tacoma and Legend, which I guess, by the way, while I'm thinking about it, there is an auction here in about 2 hours on the New York Warriors. So Big E's is hosting another auction for them tonight, like every Tuesday, I believe. So they'll definitely, and I think Thoro Boro is auctioning off a Batman 181 first appearance, a Poison Ivy, and he's going to donate the proceeds for that book to charity. So definitely go bid up that book and help him get some nice stuff for charity. So big shout out to Thoro Boro. He's a great guy. And then you guys did type that name in the chat. Thank you. So it is the name of the other Eastman book that came out last week was Radically Rearranged Ronin Ragdolls. So there you go. Radically Rearranged Ronin Ragdolls. I need an issue 1 of that. I'll have to look for it for sure. All right. Brandon suggests that Gretzky reads Detective Comics. It's been really good. Yeah, I think I'm going to read that digitally eventually next year on the DC app. The stuff I've read from Tomasi has been very good. Like I said in a previous video or a chat or something, I feel like Tomasi has definitely outshined Tom King in the Batman department. So, yeah, absolutely. I think more people need to stop focusing on the negatives of Tom King and focus on the positives of Tomasi because he's a consistently good writer. I've always liked his Green Lantern stuff. He was great on Superman with the Super Sons. So Tomasi doesn't get enough love and respect, in my opinion. So if you guys want Batman, read Tomasi's Detective. Mastodon confirms what I say. He says, good stuff. That Ice Cream Man. Yeah, the only issues I didn't like is like the ones where they actually tried to do an overarching story. I just like the anthology horror aspect of it. I think they do extremely well. It feels really fresh and original, even though it's not. And then the art, I think the art style suits the horror aspect of it very well. Gretzky says he stopped reading Batman title after the New 52, but Detective Comics I stick with from 1960 to 2011. Yeah, Gretzky definitely likes those very long-running books like Detective, Action Comics, and Archie. Big E Shaq says he's going to need a check from IDW also. Yeah, I guess so. And then Steven Spock says, how about Eastman, Talbot, and Beasley Melting Pot? I don't think I've heard of that one. Just since I've got back into the Turtles, I'm finding about all these Eastman books that I need to be finding. So I'm definitely going to have to look for all of these. I think Biggie Shaq's putting the stuff he's looking forward to in the next day or so. So he says, True Believers, Spawn, I Hate Fairyland, Three Jokers, Snot Girl, pretty packed pull list. Oh, and Doomsday Clock. Yeah, tomorrow's a big day, at least for me. The first time ever in a long time, I had no pulls last week. None. That's why, like most of my reads you just saw, I don't think there was, with the exception of that Kevin Eastman book, I just found that on the shelf because I didn't know about it to put on my pull list. But this week, I think it's like Doomsday Clock. I think I'm going to pick up Heroes in Crisis to see how it ends, so we can talk about it all together on Comic Core this Friday. I'm sure it's going to be a topic that's going to be very spoiler heavy, so I'll probably get Heroes in Crisis, even though I haven't liked that much of it. I think it's well written enough. I just don't like what they're doing to some of my favorite characters, but we'll read issue 9 to see what final verdict I put on that, I guess. Then, of course, the Black Label Snyder Capullo Batman. It seems, once again, Bat Guapo crazy, I guess you could say. Turtles 94 comes out tomorrow, so several reads I'm looking forward to. Let's see what else we got. I'm not reading that. Okay, anyway, going to what I got at Half Price Books. Let's see. Yep, this is one. I went up north about an hour because I had to get some turtle books. I'm like, I'll stop by Half Price Books because why not? So got some more run fillers for my X-Men run. Got X-Men number 276. Very cool Jim Lee cover. So even though I don't think I have this one, but if I did, I probably would have bought it again because, hey, it's Jim Lee X-Men from that late 80s. Actually, it'd be 91. Sorry. So cool X-Men right there. Same thing for 277 as well. We also have issue 3. I think this is like Spawn Kills the Universe, something like that. It doesn't have the name on the cover, otherwise I'd say it. I think this one just came out. I almost bought this at that same store because I like the Infinity Gauntlet cover swipe, but they actually had like the black and white Virgin variant for $2 at this Half Price book. So I'm like, screw it. Why not go ahead and grab it? It's a cool cover. Don't know much about the book, but hey, like me some clown Infinity Gauntlet cover swiping action. I heard good things about this book, plus I like the Middleton cover on it. Found Martian Manhunter number 1 for $2. So there's that. I haven't read this one yet, but I'm definitely going to try to get around to it because I've heard, that Steve Orlando's the writer. I heard he's doing good stuff there. Found a George Perez Green Lantern. So I like George Perez. I like Green Lantern, but I've never actually read this. So got the issue 143 for $2. So couldn't pass that up. I think I just sold a copy of this, but I figured for $2, pick up another one. I got Exiles number 1. Cool, like multi-universal Marvel book. Plus, I think it's technically the first appearance, or at least the first cover appearance of that version of Valkyrie from the Thor Ragnarok movie. So definitely couldn't leave that laying for $2. Same thing for this. Actually, like the next few are ones I already have, but I just like so much because figure I'd pick them up and just kind of throw them in the, anything I sell from here on out. So I got Captain America, Winter Soldier Part 1 for $2. A phenomenal Ed Brubaker read right here. So I figured for $2, go and pick that up, gift it to somebody. So I'll put that in my pile right there. Here's a cover I love every single time I see it. One of my favorite jock covers ever. Got All-Star Batman number 1. Actually, the one I already had, I got signed by Jock at a C2E2 previously. So thought that was really cool for $2 or $2.50. Sorry. Just definitely had to go ahead and pick up another copy of this because, like I said, it's one of my favorite Jock covers there is. For me, I think it lines up with the Detective 880 with the Joker / James Gordon Jr., whatever Chad and Trinity want to argue over. It makes me laugh every time, so I always got to point it out when I can. All right, so I found this B cover for Civil War, Casualties of War. Jim Chung B cover on that, so I thought that was pretty cool for $1.50. I believe this is a Whitman variant, Captain America 221. It's a little beat up for $1.50. Figured why not go ahead and get the, because it's no barcode, no Marvel on it, so I believe that is the Whitman version, if I remember my Metarog lessons right. Next up, we got, I got to say the catchphrase at least once tonight, so if you don't like it, you just plug your ears for a second. But we got a Newsstand copy of DC versus Marvel number 1. So I've never seen a Newsstand of this. At least I don't think. Probably the last one I bought was a Newsstand, and I just forgot. But hey, for $1.50, I'm getting another Newsstand copy because I love this book. If there's one book out there that takes me back to me being a kid and being just a complete mark for some of my favorites over on the DC side there, it is DC versus Marvel. I remember going to that website. I think it was just co-ran by DC and Marvel Comics. And you got to actually vote on 5 of the battles online. Who was going to win? So I think if I remember right, you guys can correct me on my history, the 5 planned battles the fans got to vote on were Wolverine and Lobo, which of course they kind of correspond to each other right there. Batman and Captain America, Storm and Wonder Woman, because you got to remember the 90s X-Men cartoon was on at the time, and X-Men was as big as anybody else at the time. So some might say, like, why would Storm and Wonder Woman, like Wonder Woman would just destroy her? Like, nope, not in the 90s. So then you got Clone Superman, aka Superboy, Connor Kent. Not Connor Kent at the time anyway. And then Spider-Man, Ben Reilly, which we thought for a second in the 90s he was the real Spidey, but wasn't to be either. He was also a clone. And then Superman and Hulk up at the top there. So, yeah, basically that figured out who won this whole thing. And if I remember right, I think DC won by 1 point. Maybe it was Marvel. Like I said, I have already forgot. But I remember Spider-Man beat Superboy, and that made me really mad. But then Batman beat Captain America, and that made everybody else mad, and I thought it was funny. So there you go. My little history lesson on DC versus Marvel. Got a Youngblood cover swipe of Invincible on this B cover from Ryan Otley. So I thought that was a pretty cool cover. I know these were a little hard to come by when they originally came out, because I think this was a quarter book originally, but this was not the A cover. It was the B cover. So I thought that was neat. Finally found a copy of Batman Dawnbreaker. Bad news is it's a reprint, but hey, I'll take a reprint at this point for $2. Figure it's easily worth that because it's going on my read pile. And I figured, why not go ahead and get the second printing for $2 of Batman Who Laughs, because I think this is going to be one of those big books everybody wants down the line. And at least I'll have a copy I can read, not like have to get my fingerprints all over that shiny chromium. So that's kind of nice too. So good to have that in the collection. Another Whitman variant. We got Batman. Did they even put the number on there? Doesn't look like it. Anyway, we got a Batman Whitman variant from the 80s. This one actually says Whitman all over it instead of DC. So I thought that was a kind of cool piece of history. But this thing, it's pretty ticked off, if you know what I mean there. I thought that was kind of neat nonetheless. We got Captain America Living Legend. Andy Deagle wrote it, and I had to get at least for the Addy Granoff art on the inside and outside. So love me some Addy Granoff. So figured why not go ahead, get a copy of that. And then we'll finish off this part of the run and the haul with some Transformers. So I got Transformers issue 6 for $2. It's fine because I just sold most of my Transformers to make a little bit of room in my collection. But nonetheless, I see these for $1, $2. I ended up putting them right back in the collection because why not? At least the earlier ones. I wouldn't mind having the first 10 again. I actually have most of them already, but I did sell a couple to make room. Got issue 2 as well. Cool cover with Megatron on there fighting Optimus. And the main reason I ended up getting them because the dude, he literally was just putting them in the box at the time. I think he just recognized my face from the last few times I've been in there buying like turtle books and just chatting with him. But he's like, hey, dude, I just put this in this box. If you want it, there it is. So I'm like, yeah, for $4, why not grab a copy of Transformers #1? He even prefaced, like, it's not in the best shape. It definitely has ticks all up and down it. But hey, every time I see this Bill Sienkiewicz cover, I got to have it. I know my store, my local shop right now, I think wants like $20 and $50 for their 2 copies. So for $4, definitely going to pick that up. All right. So like I said, we got a lot of haul to go over. So I'm going to get back into that chat once again to see who else we got in here. We got, oh yeah, we got the Macho Head 84. Dig it. So we got Kenny from Comic Head. He's also representing last night on Story Comic Corps, so enjoyed seeing him there. He says, I am a virgin variant. We got LP from Rebel Comics. Long time no see, man. How's it going, LP? Happy to see you in the chat. He says, LOL, haven't brought mainstream comics here in a bit. Yeah, like I said, I've discussed it before on various channels, but yeah, some of the newer stuff is a little bit harder to get into. I'll be completely honest, especially the DC and the Marvel stuff. Like there was an issue actually is one of the things I bought, but I didn't talk about because I couldn't get into it. Was one of the War of the Realms spinoffs, and I was so lost on what was going on. The main reason I bought it is I liked the characters they had in it, like they had Silk, and a couple of the others. I'm like, and I think Miss Marvel was in there. Kamala Khan. I'm like, this seems like a cool book, but I open it up. I have zero clue what's going on, but I guess that's kind of to be expected with spin-offs. So, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying there. We got the mega powers going on in the chat. Biggie Check, Comic Head 84 says, Biggie Checkamania, brother. So, liking the covers, likes the newsstand. Thank you. And then I believe we've been discovered. We got Discovery Bay Comics. What's going on, JB? How's it going, man? Always happy. And thanks once again to JB. He shared the video on his daily show today, so big thanks for that. And LP says he digs the Bullet Club shirt. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch the Double or Nothing pay-per-view yet because I didn't pay the $50. But I did really enjoy that pre-show that they had on the TNT YouTube feed. So I got a chance to watch that Battle Royal, and then like that the pre-show main event and that stuff. So that was a lot of fun. So hopefully soon I can get a chance to watch that whole pay-per-view. I figure, like, you know, WWE's just been making me annoyed and angry lately. So I figured, why not wear the Bullet Club shirt? Because why not? All right. So going back into some crazy hauls, where do we even start here? I guess we'll just start with this stack. On eBay, I think it was my only eBay purchase I had in the month of May. Got some Daredevil books. They're readers, just going through them. I Mylar'd them up, but they're readers anyway. I think I paid maybe $2, $3 a pop, but I'm trying to fill up these early Daredevils. Wouldn't mind trying to go after the first 100 because I've actually got a decent chunk of them at this point. But I figured for $2 or $3, why not just go ahead and pick these bad boys up? So I got Daredevil issue 39. Nice 12 center there, but as you can see, it's seen some rough days, but nonetheless, happy to have them. Issue 40 as well, which I thought this one was in the best condition, but it looks like a rat or something got a hold of that top there, unfortunately, but everything else on the book presents pretty well. Issue number 46 with the old Jester there. We got issue number 52, Night of the Panther. Oh, wait, it's missing there. But nonetheless, Night of the Panther, issue 52. Love me some 52 issues, by the way. Issue number 54. And then the last one I got was a 20 center, which I may have already had this one. I can't remember, or have it. I haven't sold it. I'm not selling my Daredevil silvers. I'm keeping those so I can collect that run. I got issue 85 as well, but if I do have this, I may just throw this in somebody's auction purchase somewhere down the line. Why we got JB Discovery Bay in the chat. I do have his auction winning I got off, I don't remember whose auction it was. There's been so many auctions lately. It might have been the Warriors, actually, that I won this one. It had one of my 2019 want list books in it, so I had to win it, and I think these were like $10 a piece shipped. So big shout out to Discovery Bay for the phenomenal deal. I got this nice looking copy of Strange Tales 118. So look how beautiful that one is. And he also put it in Mylar, so big thanks for that. So cool early Doctor Strange as well, which I've been trying to go after more of his stuff as well. Captain America number 121. So nice Bronze Age 50 center, or 15 center right there. So nice high quality copy of that. It'd probably grade pretty well if I ever decided to do that crazy stuff. But the one I wanted, which he even prefaced, not the greatest condition, so I'm good with that. Got Captain America 111 because I wanted to put a nice 70s Jim Steranko book on my want list. Actually, it's technically late 60s, I should say. But nonetheless, I wanted to put a nice early Marvel Jim Steranko book on my want list this year. Just to get just a phenomenal Steranko cover. So this is the one I picked for 2019. And man, I've always loved this cover. I always wanted it in the collection. So even though, I mean, it does have a lot of imperfections around it, it still presents pretty well, in my opinion. It's not like a lot of these you see are like turning brown on the sides and the top, even though there's a little bit fading right there. No big deal. I think it looks great. So once again, big thanks to JB for helping me complete another book off my 2019 want list. So absolutely love that Steranko cover. All right, we'll keep rolling along here. Actually, first I do want to get back in the chat because I did have one more person joining us. We have Chris Barrett in the chat. What's going on, Chris Barrett? I think he just subbed me up not too long ago, and he's always in those Comic Core chats, killing it, giving some funny lines in there. So definitely always enjoy seeing Chris Barrett in the chats. We got aggressively relaxed. He says, "What is that Daredevil comic called? Night of the Pants?" Yeah, that's what I'm sticking with. So, all right. So there was a couple sales for Memorial Day going along this weekend. So looked like I had a half day of work on Monday, so I was able to go to my half price books here in town and get some half price books. And considering it's the outlet store, everything was pretty much already $1. So I got this whole stack. Everything was 50 cents a piece. So some of the stuff I was just not getting or didn't feel like getting, I was like, for 50 cents, I'll finally buy in. So I got Question issue number 10. I keep seeing these Question books pop up. I think I'm going to decide to go after this Question run because every time I see them, they're usually $1, $2, what have you. So I figured, why not? For 50 cents, I'll get a couple of these Question books because if nothing else, they look really cool. And I love me some Question from the 52 miniseries back in 06 and 07. And then, of course, Justice League Unlimited. They had a phenomenal arc with the Question there called Question Authority. So kind of want to start collecting Question now. When you see Alex Ross books for 50 cents a piece, you're probably going to end up getting these Alex Ross books for 50 cents a piece. So I got Justice Society of America, #1. Cool Alex Ross cover there. Not to mention a great run by Jeff Johns and Dale Eaglesham, who's this guy's currently, well, they're both doing Shazam now. So had to get that. They had a little bit of a run, so I got issue 2, Starman. Issue 3 with the Wildcats, or I'm sorry, issue 4. I think I already, oh no, issue 3 is right here. So there you go. Issues 3 and 4, 50 cents a piece. And then they also had issue number 5. So I figured for $2.50 for a whole arc of Justice Society, why wouldn't I get that? It'd be dumb. I don't know if I haven't researched it enough yet. I can't remember if this is a reprint, a first print, a B cover, what have you, but I really like this read. So when I saw a nice quality copy of God Country #5 for 50 cents, I just went ahead and put that in the stack. It's a really good read if you guys haven't checked it out. I know there's a lot of hype behind it at this point, but definitely if you can read this like in a trade, or actually have the hardcover right over there, I recommend that. Found this bombshell variant, I believe, Green Lantern Corps 32. Some, I think Mirka and Dolfo probably did this B cover if I remember right. So I thought that was kind of cool. Don't see those mid-2011s B covers super often for 50 cents. Kind of like Alex Ross. When I see Mike Turner for 50 cents, I'm not leaving it in there. So I got Fantastic Four, 544. I think I already had this one too. I may still have it. But 50 cents for some Mike Turner, that's not staying in there. People like those DC Universe covers, don't they? So found this one for 50 cents. Azrael #19. But it's got that DC Universe logo variant. So I've been collecting these since I was a kid. So I figured why not just go ahead and get another one for 50 cents. So who knows how rare or scarce or whatever words you want to throw at it. So I know, shout out to Evan if you're out there. I know you like some rare books. So there's one for you. All right. So then while we're on the Azrael train, we got from, I think these are from like 2009. I don't know too much about this run, but I figured since I literally saw most of the run, I just go ahead and pick them up for 50 cents. Because at least they have some really awesome covers I've never heard too many people talk about. So I got Azrael #2, because some jerk bought all the first issues, I'm pretty sure. So cool Jock cover there. So got that for 50 cents. Jock cover on issue #3 as well. So really nice cover there. I think that might be the best of the batch. Just like all the little targets on there. And then it switches to some Francisco Mattina action for like I think the next 7 issues. So we got this Mattina cover on issue #4. Don't know if he copied it off anybody or not, but thought that was real nice. Got issue #5 as well. Issue #6. So I know everyone loves them. Some of that Mattina. Issue #7. That might be my favorite of the Mattina covers. I'm partial to Jock, obviously, but you gotta love the ugliness of that one there. Got issue #8. Issue #9. And the last one I found was issue #10. And then the last one I got for 50 cents. It was one of those newsstands. So there you go. One more for you guys tonight. Superman 32 from the New 52 run. Like I said, you don't see these newsstand variants too much, like post mid 2005 or what have you. I think it was like kind of the cutoff. I want to say this is probably like in a Walmart multi-pack, if I remember right. If I was going to guess what the origin of this newsstand is, there's like a 3-pack of Walmart books. They usually have like one variant cover, like I think Tom King Batman #1 would be like the cover on the front, and then you have like 2 mystery books. I'm thinking this is probably one of the mystery books that came in those 3-packs, if I was to speculate on how this newsstand exists, because I think that even this cover wasn't even on the original Superman 32. So there we go. All right, so hey, I'm not done. I still got more haul to go. So let's get into the chat, and then we'll keep showing some books here. Gretzky says, well, I had almost a full run of Azrael, sold it to Make Room. Yeah, I'm sure I'll probably end up doing the same thing, because eventually I got 5 more short boxes to add to the collection, because, you know, back here and then 2 rows in the closet, I still need to work everything you're seeing tonight, plus like the last, I don't know how many hauls into the collection somehow. So I'm going to add 5 more boxes to my last shelf that I have space for in this room, and then I don't know where everything's going to go. I just keep buying comic books because, hey, we all love us some comic books. That's why we're here. And LP says, dude, you're not kidding. Huge haul. Yeah, absolutely, man. Biggie Shack says, now that's a country haul. All right. And everyone's enjoying the haul. So Kenny from Comic Cat 84 agrees. So I think I got a little bit more over here. There's probably something I forgot. Oh, no, there's a stack here, too. Well, before I show the Caleb Comic Smurf books, I'll show my first of the month. I think right after Free Comic Book Day, I did go to that same half-price books. I had to pay $1 for these because there wasn't a sale. So I got from the Jim Lee run of Superman, Brian Azzarello. Got Superman 206, 207, and then 208 because I already had, I think, the first 2 issues. So I figured why not go ahead and get the next 3 because they were in there. Kind of funny story on this next one. Comic-Core Chad called me earlier in the month, and he said he's getting a big Superboy lot off eBay for cheap. He had like every issue in it, but except for issue 5. So actually, I think I set it like up here. Yeah, I set aside this issue for him to buy, or not to buy. I'm just gonna give it to him. Obviously, it's Superboy #5. I just come on. So he's definitely gonna get this book at some point. I'll probably give it to him at Baltimore when we do that thing. But literally within like maybe 3 or 4 days, I went and found this one in that half-price books, and it's another one of those DC Universe logo variants. So he's getting my childhood copy, and I'm keeping this copy now. So I thought that was kind of, you know, as the great legend would say, synchronicity, I guess, because this is literally the only issue from that Superboy run they had. So funny story. So again, going back to some Alex Ross, we got Justice #1. I believe this is the 3rd printing variant. So it seems like when you collect Justice, people like those 2nd and 3rd printings more than the actual run. I have the Absolute Edition right up there. So that's usually the edition I'm going to read, but I enjoy these, finding these variant covers you don't see too often. Got a Ron Lim variant for Infinity Countdown #5. Some Adam Warlock action there. So I think I actually have issues 1 through 3 of this for whatever reason. Like I said, Marvel crossovers, they kind of go over my head anymore. But sometimes you get some cool covers out of them, to say the least. I do kind of want to read this run at some point because it's Jeff Lemire. We got Moon Knight #1. So we got some Jeff Lemire and Jordi Belair in there. But yeah, just an interesting cover that, you know, that's going on the read pile. So I want to see what the hell's going on there. We got Superman 414. Bought this for $1. So like that kind of copper Superman. I think this was Eddie Beretta did this cover. Plus, hey, it's a Crisis crossover. I love me some Crisis. So anytime I get me some Crisis crossover books, I can kind of understand what's going on in this crossover, even though I've had like 30 some odd years to think about it. So there's that. All right. So I think it's all cool stuff, really cool stuff from here, in my opinion. So I got this haul plus what I found at my shop yesterday. Oh, I guess I could talk about the mystery box thing for the people just missed that. So from Caleb Comic Smurf Murphy. Once again, I can't remember the auction. I don't think it was, no, it wouldn't have been Legends. But anyway, lots of auctions in the community. Sometimes I forget. I remember the buyers, but I can't remember what show they're on. But nonetheless, Caleb, the Comics Murphy sold me this phenomenal Justice League lot. I think I may have paid $5 or $6 shipped per book. So I'd like to start going after some early JLA some more because they're not too super expensive, and I really like the older DC stuff, obviously. So I got Justice League 24. So, and he did preface as well. A lot of these are kind of in reader condition, which, hey, that's okay with me. We got 25. So, yeah, it's got a little bit of battle damage on the cover there, but sometimes, hey, that just adds to the charm. We got 32. I like how someone put notes on this, like, first, I think that says brainstorm, which looks like first, bro. So that's the way I'm going to read it. We got issue number 34, which apparently they got their notes wrong a few times, but hey, it's a very nice looking copy there. We got issue number 37. Apparently it has an appearance of Silver Age Mr. Terrific. So there you go. Issue number 42. Nice issue there, nice quality. Issue number 50, which I'm happy to have that one in there because we like us some issue 50s. Issue number 53. Then the last one, issue number 59. So happy to have those early number Justice Leagues. Once again, kind of like Question and Daredevil. I think I'm going to start going after the, you know, maybe like the first 50 or 100 Justice Leagues because why not? They're cheap enough. I mean, sure, the first run, like those first 10, they're going to be up in price, but I think I can get those mid ones as well. I think, kind of looking around before I eat my words, I think these are my final books of the night, and they're big ones, literally. So at my shop yesterday, no, I take that back. I want to show what's up there, just in case you guys missed a certain live stream I did this last month. But at my local shop yesterday, my shop owner, he has Old Comic Book Day Monday, so obviously we all know New Comic Book Day is Wednesday. And I guess he got tired of asking when his older stuff's coming out because he just made it Monday. So Old Comic Book Monday, I've started to go on Mondays now to see what he's got. And he had a Memorial Day sale that coincided with Old Comic Book Day. So basically, it was just like anything above like $5.99 that's like a vintage book is buy two get one free. And any newer books that are like $6 or less, they're just 2 for $10. He had the same sale at Free Comic Book Day for the newer books, so I didn't buy anything there because anything I wanted, I bought at Free Comic Book Day. But definitely, he did not let down with Old Comic Book Day. So I bought 2 of these and got 1 for free. So the free one I got is Batman Treasury Edition. It's C25. So he had the Neil Adams cover one too, which I already own that one over there, so I didn't double dip on that. But I thought this looked super. I think I've actually seen this same Treasury on Silver Age Dave's channel because I don't know if this is the same little tabletop diorama he put together on his. I think it's one extremely similar. So as soon as I saw that, I thought of Silver Age Dave, but definitely thought this was really cool and was not gonna because of the. Basically, I think it's like me and this other buyer. We buy up a lot of his like really good stuff. So of course, like that one really good buyer walked in right behind me, and he was distracted by the books that are above the cash register, of course. So I'm just like, yoink, yoink. It's just like I'm gonna get these before he. And I think he went and rushed to get one book before I could even see it. I can't remember. I think it was like a cool Simon Beasley oversized book. Which oh well, I was trying to pick 3 books anyway, so I made my 3 picks. Next up. I got Superman versus Shazam. This is C58. So shout out once again to the great legend. I figured he'd like this one with Shazam and Mary Marvel on it. And then you got both girls there. So great Rich Buckler, Dick Giordano art there. So thought as soon as this is the first one I know is like that one is definitely going home with me one way or the other, especially since it was like under $20. And it's in really nice condition too. There's not too many, like you see spine ticks up and down these all the time because they're oversized. They're very floppy, as you guys can see. I still need to figure out a backing board solution. But nonetheless, like even the back cover looks beautiful on this. So I could not, in good conscience, leave that one in the store. And then the last one, we got Fantastic Four, number 2. Once again, just a beautiful condition Treasury. There's only a few imperfections on it, like his ding there. I think there was a little bit of split there, but like you don't see these in great condition that often. So Yeah, definitely had to get the FF one. This is the other one. I'm like, all right, how am I gonna get this? How am I gonna get this as cheap as possible? So that's why I got this one. I paid 18 for. I paid 15 for the Shazam Superman, and got the Batman one for free, basically. So like, there you go. There's my free one because there was like. I kind of hope he has them tomorrow, which he probably won't. But I think there was like a couple other ones that were beat up, but they were like $3 and $5. But I didn't want to get the $5 one and make that the free book, or the $3 one. I wanted to get a $12 one and make that one the free book. So yeah. And then just to preface, these are bigger than magazines. Just saw that chat. I guess to put a magazine size style comic next to the Treasury. This Nightmare on Elm Street is a magazine size, and there is the Treasury comparison. So. Yeah, obviously it's pretty dang big. So there you go. Woo! Oh man, like I said, I got one more book to go. I guess two more books, just in case, because I got to show the book. You guys know if you watched the previous live stream where I did my unboxing of that Spider-Man booth, you know what book I'm probably going to show. But first, the only other big, I guess, kind of big purchase I made at my local shop. I got this basically for $20 because I had store credit. So a nice quality copy of X-Men 100, as I'm trying to fill most everything in this X-Men run from 94 to about 300. So besides this, the main keys I'm missing now in that run is probably, I think, 94 and 95. So 94 is the big one, obviously. And then the next big one would be 101, First Phoenix, which right now is not the time to buy. We'll wait for the movie to come out and do whatever it's going to do. And then maybe we'll think about it, but with them looming in the MCU, it's kind of a tough time to get that book right now. So I'll probably wait a while on 94 and 101. And then probably the next big key I need is First Gambit. But beyond that, I've got a lot of the keys already. So I just need the run fillers, which I have, as you can see in these past haul videos. I've been getting a lot of those run fillers for $1, $2, and maybe for the early Claremont and Cockrum ones, $3 to $5, but I have a lot of those already. Nonetheless, I kind of splurged and bought this one, but it was good vibes. Good vibes for my unboxing, because previous on this channel was me, Who Dat, Comics and Movies, and Comic Spectre. We did the sorry, I was just looking at the box to remember. I always mess up the name. That Spider-Man booth. So once again, I was happy to get this, the giant size X-Men. I'll be probably sending this for grading in August when I go to Indiana Comic-Con. So definitely my biggest get for the month of May, without a doubt, is giant size X-Men 100. So definitely had to show that one more time before I put it back where I'm not going to handle it anymore and get it dinged and dented and all that good stuff. All right, we'll go over the chat one more time, and then we'll sign off here because, hey, it's like 90 degrees out, and it's getting warm in my upstairs room here. Speaking of 90, I believe we had a 90 MF Comics sighting. What's going on? He says, drink it in, man. YouTube is 90. So what's going on, Chad? You missed my whole spiel on you selling me on turtles for the month of May, so definitely go back and watch that. Let's see. Sorry, brain fart. Anyway, we still got Mastodon Comics and Collecting. He says, nah, it's a great book. We got Mastodon, once again, great book. So he likes the X-Men pair there. Tacoma says 94 through 279 is the Claremont run. Yeah, I think I already have 280 through 300, so that's why I just said 94 through 300. I don't know why. I just kind of use that as the cutoff because I just had them already. So I think there may be one or two issues I'm missing, but I'm not in a big hurry to collect the mid-90s X-Men because I have most of those from when I was a kid, especially the Onslaught stuff on forward. Once you get, those 300s, the 400s, I actually have most of those I would ever want. So big thanks, guys, for joining me tonight. I guess final shout-outs, I will have my Signature Sundays / Signature Series / Seawood Signature Collection video out at some point. I'm going to try to film it hopefully tomorrow since I have another day off. But then lazy me has to do the editing on it, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to get that to you guys as soon as possible, so that way I can start getting everything back in the boxes and not down here sorted, ready to be shown and out of protection. So, oh, and a big thanks. You got LP says new Naomi very soon. Cool, man. So definitely check out Rebel Comics if you're interested in seeing that Niobe book, because he's getting ready to release a new one. So good stuff, man. Thanks for letting us know. That's awesome. And then liking the covers, and Steven Spock are still here. So big thanks, guys. Comic Core. Actually, I think we're out. There's a Thursday show too this week. It's Outside the Issues. I believe it's Cat Ren Figures, Chad from Comic Core, and a whole bevy of other guests. I'm not sure if Comic Core Chad's work friends are going to be there again. They've been a lot of fun to talk to on the Game of Thrones reviews. So if you guys are interested in kind of hearing more of our opinions on television shows, I believe what we're covering this week is disappointing series finales. So Game of Thrones left a bad taste in a few people's mouths, kind of mine included, to be honest. So why the series finale topic is fresh on everyone's heads, we're going to go ahead and have a conversation about this Thursday, probably about 10, probably 11 o'clock Eastern time on the Comic Core channel. And of course, Fridays, we're going the A show, not like that B show, Comic Core Unlimited, even though I love those guys. I got to give them all the flack in the world for whatever reason. But we're going for the red brand, Comic Core Friday nights. This Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. You never know what's going to happen on the Comic Core. I seriously, I don't know what's going to happen. If anyone knows, please let me know, because I have no idea what's going to go down on this Friday show. Oh, and then the last thing before I hit the sign-off button. Great Legend, if you're still watching, which you better be. I know you are. I got my proposal for the Great Legend. This feud between, where's he? Oh, here he is. My boy, Drew Gulak, and your boy Baron Corbin have been feuding since what, November in WWE 2K19. So I know Gulak, you see, he's not happy about it. He hates Baron Corbin. He's sick and tired of him. So I think at this point, you know, even though he did get embarrassed the last time we played, Gulak, he didn't have a good match. He'd be the first to admit it. So what needs to happen, I think, now? No holds barred. Extreme Rules. Loser leaves town match on your channel, Legend. So I'm laying down the gauntlet now. This feud between Gulak and that stupid, greasy Baron Corbin, it just needs to. At the end, I'm just tired of hearing Baron Corbin. So you know, I will face the reality if Gulak gets pinned, and I have to hear about Baron Corbin when I'm in an old folks' home on a rocker. But maybe just taking this one chance until 2K20 comes out. We'll use all these characters again probably anyway. But 2K19, I think the loser leaves town match needs to happen. So Drew Gulak, he's stepping up to the plate. Will Baron Corbin step up to the plate as well? We'll see. So there's my final proposal of the night. So big thanks to the chat for making it tonight, guys. It's been a lot of fun. I'm thinking the next one of these, let's see what date in June we're going to have. So work pending. It looks like it's going to be kind of an early one. June 25th will be my next Tuesday night live stream. So we'll see what happens in the month of June, comic book wise, because like I said, tomorrow's a pretty big day for new releases, at least for me. A lot of DC stuff coming out, Turtle Action and that stuff. And then, I'll save Brightburn for another video. How about that? I was going to talk about Brightburn. I completely forgot because it's an hour, 20 minutes in. I was still showing books. But Brightburn, overall, thumbs up. I enjoyed it. I'll give some deeper thoughts on a different video. But if you guys are curious, you should go see it. If you like comic books, and especially if you have like a matinee showing for like $5 or like AMC A-List where you can just toggle it and go see it, you may as well just go see it. So overall, thumbs up. But I'm also giving the chat a thumbs up. So big thanks for joining me, guys. And you have a wonderful rest of your week. There's that guy Sting again.